Hey friends, if you're looking for some spring classroom activities for first grade, today I want to talk to you about my number one favorite activity that I did with my class the entire year, and it's called Adopt-A-Peep. Not only is it incredibly fun for kids, but it's also a great way to build responsibility, creativity, and excitement for writing in your classroom. This little activity starts with a marshmallow peep, but it'll quickly turn into a classroom experience that your kids are going to talk about for weeks. So let's get started. Imagine this. What if the Easter Bunny made a visit to your classroom one night and dropped off a basket of marshmallow peeps with a letter asking your students to care for them as their very own? Well, that's exactly what happened in my room. And let me tell you, this was such a hit. Here's how it all started. First, I read a story to my class about the Easter Bunny, which my favorite is actually called The Story of the Easter Bunny by Katherine Teigen. I love it because it's really a sweet story of how the Easter Bunny came to be, but also because it's really beautifully illustrated. It's watercolor pictures, which are always my favorite, and they're really lovely, and they just sort of draw you into the story. So after we read the story, we talked about, what they thought the Easter Bunny does in his workshop and where did they think he lives, and just sort of set the stage for what was about to come. So then that night, after the kids left at the end of the day, I got everything set up. So I got marshmallow peeps in different colors, and I put them each in a little plastic Easter egg. And then I put all the eggs in a basket with a letter from the Easter Bunny. And the letter basically said that there was a new batch of baby peeps that were about to be born, but they were so busy in Bunnyland getting ready for Easter. And so, they were coloring eggs and making chocolate bunnies, and there just wasn't anybody available that could take care of the new peeps. So the Easter Bunny asked if my class would take care of them until he could come back to get them another day. Well, you can imagine how excited my kids were. Oh my gosh, they loved it. So they each chose an egg, and before we could open it, we all had to say a magic poem together, which would make their peeps wake up from their sleep. So we all said the poem, and then they could open their egg to see what they got. So they're all different colors of Easter peeps, and then one kid got two peeps in their egg, so they got twins. I mean, it was just so cute, and they were so excited about it. So after they got their peep, we talked about how to care for them and what they thought their peeps might need to eat. And so we made this big anchor chart, and it had 3 sections that said what peeps eat, where peeps live, and good names for peeps. So they helped me fill out the chart, and they said stuff like, peeps probably eat sugar and jelly beans and sprinkles and cotton candy. And then they said that they thought peeps probably lived in Easterland or maybe in a gingerbread house or in a flower garden and stuff like that. And then we came up with some good names for our peeps too, like somebody named theirs Pinky and Jelly Bean, Lollipop, Hopper. I mean, it was so cute. And so we did that chart to kind of help spark the kids' imagination for the rest of the unit. So the next thing I did was tell them that they were going to get to adopt their peep. And so I gave them each an official birth certificate to fill out. And so that's where they could name their peep on their birth certificate. And then I also told them that whenever somebody has a baby, they always make it a baby book, to tell about the beginning of their life. So each kid got a baby book, and every page told about their peep's first moments. So on the first page, they had to draw a picture of their egg before they were born. And on the second page, they wrote about their peep's first outing, where it went the first time it left its shell. And then there was a page for them to draw and write about their little peep friends. And there was a page to write about what was happening on the day that it was born, their favorite song, favorite food, what the weather was, what their favorite TV show was. And then there was a page for their baby peep's first photo. So it was super cute. And they worked on those for a couple of days. And then we also did some math with it. And they filled out their baby peep's growth chart. They had to weigh and measure their peep, and we used jelly beans to measure them with. And then they filled out their chart. So we even got a little math practice in there with that. And then let's see, what else did we do? They wrote letters to the Easter Bunny, telling them how their little peep was doing. And then one of the best parts was when they had to hire a babysitter to watch their peep. So I told them that we could never leave our babies alone. So if they had to leave the room to go get a drink or go to the restroom or something like that, they had to hire a babysitter. So I gave them each a little Ziploc with about 10 jelly beans. And I told them that that was called bunny money. And if they had to leave their baby unattended, they had to hire a babysitter and pay them with bunny money. Oh my gosh, they loved this. So, every time they'd go to the bathroom, they'd ask someone to watch their peep and they'd pay them. And everybody wanted to be a babysitter, of course. And I think there was probably a little bit more bathroom time those couple of days, but it was so cute. I just really didn't mind. And then if they ran out of money, they could always offer to babysit to earn more money. So it was a really good lesson in being responsible for something. They made little houses out of paper bags for their peeps to live in. We had some little templates of doors and windows and stuff that they colored and put on their house. And then we stuffed the bag with Easter grass, and that's where they kept their peep during the day. All of these activities are part of my Adopt-A-Peep unit on TPT. And if you want to check it out, you can go to 𝗪𝗲land.com/peep. And I'll also put the link in the show notes for you too. So they were allowed to take their peep home one night. And so they took it home in their little house that they made. And there was a letter that explained everything to the parents. The kids were encouraged to keep their peep with them wherever they went, to show that they were responsible for taking care of it. And then they were supposed to read it a bedtime story and bring it back the next day. And in all the years I did this, all the kids and parents took it super seriously, and everybody brought their peep back the next day, except once. And it was really sad because this little guy came from kind of a rough background, and his dad thought that it'd be funny to eat the peep. I mean, unbelievable, really. But the poor little guy was so upset. But just in case anything like that happened, I had extra peeps, and I told him that, the Easter Bunny had sent some more peeps for us to watch over, and so I gave him a new one, and he was fine after that. So at the end of the week, I had the Easter Bunny leave a note for the kids, thanking them for taking such good care of their peeps, and it told them that since they'd done such a good job and they'd already actually adopted them, they could keep them forever. And then he left a little tray of cookies as a thank you. So this was just a really great activity for the kids. First of all, the engagement was through the roof. They all loved it and wanted to do every single activity. They got some writing practice, and also it was a great lesson in being responsible. It was truly one of our favorite activities we did all year, and the kids talked about it for weeks afterward. So if you're looking for something special to do with your class this year, Adopt-A-Peep is it. It's fun to do right before spring break, or really anytime right around Easter. You can grab this resource in my TPT store at 𝗪𝗲land.com/peep. Okay, friends, that's it for this week. If you do decide to adopt peeps this year, please post some photos and tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see them.